All right, we are here for the second time today. Give me just a second to get my guest the new link, and we'll be right back with. She was already, but she couldn't hear me. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, shoo.
Mamma mia.
I know. Like, what the heck? I've never had that happen.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So, one second. Let me close a few things on my computer so we don't lag up. Okay. So if you want to start, so tonight we have with us Ember. Ember is a newfound friend of mine. We met actually via TikTok. I've been doing lives over there, and she popped into my life, and we just kind of clicked up, and I've loved her ever since. So I brought her on today, and she's going to tell her story, and I think it's going to hit home with some people because it's not an easy story. She's had a rough go of it, and she's had some struggles evenly, and she's picked herself back up and dusted off, and she's here with us today. So I'm going to hand it over to her, and you can start wherever you want. And Christina, she hears me. Okay, good. So Facebook can at least hear me, or no, she's on YouTube. All right, good. Well, they can hear us anyways. So we were here a minute ago, and no one could hear me. So
yeah, it's kind
let me get live on TikTok, and then we will.
Okie dokie. Thank you for having me, Leanna. I'm super excited for this. I feel good. I'm a little nervous, but you always make it such a safe place for me. So honestly, there's been so many people who have asked me to do this, and I'm just like, meh. And then, for you, I'm just like, I feel safe. I feel like we're just kicking it in your, you know what I mean, in your house,
That's what I tell people. Like, don't get caught up. Like, and even though, like, I say the episodes are an hour or whatever, but like, we don't, if it doesn't last an hour, it doesn't last an hour. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out. I always, like, I have stuff, not that we will never have to worry about, I don't think, like, killing time, but if we did, I have a game we can play. Oh my God, what did I do? I got to turn the camera around. The camera's facing away from me. How do you turn the camera around? I got it. Flip camera. Okay. Well, there we go. All right. Let's go. I'm trying to like charge my phone and stand it up at the same time. I wonder if I'll flip up.
Am I allowed to vape on this thing or no?
Yeah, you're fine. If for my actual podcast, like, I really don't care, and you don't have to like watch your language that much, and I mean, try to not just be blatant, but like, if we ever get kicked out of here, podcast platforms will never shut me down. YouTube will never shut me down. So you know what I mean? Like, I am places that they can't, that they can't shut me down, can't keep me out of. Hey, Kristen, we've got Ember on the podcast. I know podcast kind of sucks for you TikTok guys because you can only see me, but all right. So Ember, let's start with your life. Where did it start for you?
All right. So I'm not gonna do your normal testimony. I'm not there yet, but I am gonna do it. Like when I realized that I was an addict, right? When I realized that that shit was unmanageable. I'm not ready to. I'm on my fourth step, friends. So I'm not there yet. But let's go. So I didn't lack morals, right? I lacked power. In my eyes, I was just a single mama doing whatever she could to get through the day. So what if I used? You know what I mean? I showed up for my kids, and getting high in between was for me. That was mine. That was my time. Then I realized my life was totally unmanageable. The battles I faced externally were nothing compared to the battles I fought internally. And that's heavy. It was plain as day that I was a total fucking train wreck. Total train wreck. My family saw it. Strangers saw it. I saw it. Internally, I was falling apart little by little every single day, every second of every day. It was written all over my face, which is why I no longer attended family parties or group outings. I isolated because that way no one would know nor be harmed by my addiction. The only person that was being harmed was myself, and I was okay with that. I was totally okay with that. Um, I called my sister one day. I think she actually had called me, and she's been like, "Where have you been? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while." And I just said, I'm just taking care of the kids, just doing my thing, you know what I mean? And then I called her back the next day and I said, Nicole, everything is so heavy. I can't even get out the door without it being a total fucking nightmare. I can't even tie my shoes without it being just such a catastrophe. And she chuckled the way that she does. And she said, Amberghini, do you have a problem? I said, no way. I don't have a problem. No, absolutely not. You know what I mean? I'm just heavy. I just feel heavy. You know what I mean? She said, Amber, are you using? I said, I absolutely am, but I'm not an addict. I'm good. I'm cool over here. You know what I mean? She's like, do you understand that you just called me, saying that you're heavy, you're having a tough time? I said, yeah, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm over here in my own little world and I'm good over here. And then she turned and she said, Amber, you're using, you know, whatever amphetamines every day, and that's not normal. You have a problem. And that hit me like a ton of bricks, a ton of bricks. Just letting that come out of my mouth, that I was using, and that I was totally powerless over that substance, struck a nerve. So in that moment with tears in my eyes, I said, Nicole, I'm powerless over this rug. I'm an addict and I need help. And that wasn't me talking. That was my higher power, because I wasn't an addict and I didn't need help. I mean, that's what I thought. You know what I mean? Um, so and then she said, Amber, it's not normal to do this every day. You have a problem. Okay, fine. I got uncomfortably honest with my entire family. I had to. I wanted to go to rehab and I needed babysitters for my little one. So I had to tell them what was going on, right? Like, I didn't want to tell them, but I know that I needed rehab. I needed a mental break in general at that point in my life. I wanted to go away. I wanted to go away and if I wasn't ready to admit that I was an addict, I was at least ready to admit that mentally I was struggling. I was struggling really, really bad. And then I guess the addiction part would follow after that. So I needed to go away. I told my older son, I told my entire family, I was looking for babysitters. I had them all lined up. Well, the morning that came where I was ready to go to rehab and all my babysitters fell through. They all fell through. The lift was on its way and I had to cancel the lift. Well, now my whole family knows that I'm an addict, right? Now everybody knows that I'm an addict. I'm struggling. I'm on serious rugs and rehab isn't happening. So now what? Now what do I do? Right? I'm fully loaded in my living room, bags packed. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, I had a babysitter for the next 3 days. Finding a babysitter for 3 days was a lot easier than finding a babysitter for 30 days. So within those 3 days, I didn't leave my house unless it was go to an AA meeting or church. I stayed sober, and then I started going to meetings, right? I had to do something to get these people off my back, right? I had to do something to get these people off my back. So I decided I'd go to meetings, right? And I say when I go to meetings, I say that very lightly. I would go there. I would go here and there. My family knew I was struggling. And one second. So my family knew I was struggling, right? But it just wasn't clicking in my stubborn brain that what they were saying in the rooms and things like that. I steered away from the meetings and I relapsed. White knuckling did not turn out as good as I thought. Right? Did not turn out as good as I thought. So then my strongest days are the ones I didn't do alone. The words in the process I heard in the meetings kept repeating in my brain. These steps, these things, all these things, right? One thing that stood out the most was I had to do this for myself, not for my kids or my nagging family, but for myself. I can't say that I thought I deserved recovery, but I knew my higher power didn't bring me this far for no reason. right? I really didn't think I deserved any chance at another life. I just spent 8+ years in active addiction. Showing up for my kids, but barely showing up for my kids. Mourning my brother's loss, but not fully mourning it. Not being there for my sister, not being there for anybody. You know what I mean? So so that was enough. So the fact that the thought of like my higher power didn't bring me here, didn't bring me this far for nothing. That was enough for me to want to do this for me, right? I decided to try getting sober again and explore what these steps were all about and what the heck is a friggin' big book. The people in the rooms always ended with keep coming back. So I did, simply just kept going back. One day as I was scrolling through TikTok, I came across an amazing community. They were sharing their experiences, their strength and hope, and cheering on each other's sober dates. It was like one big friggin' pep rally for recovering addicts. I realized the people who were getting cheered on the loudest was the person with 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. I felt like I was kind of supposed to be there at that time, right? I then I heard someone mention the big book, and I heard that before in the meetings, right? The safest place I ever felt so far was in those meetings, in those rooms with those people. And so I heard them mentioning this big book. I saw them reading this big book. I heard them doing these things, and then I hear it on the TikTok, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is supposed to be, maybe, maybe this is all connecting for a reason. I was sent a big book, and that's when everything started settling in. I started counting my days, making meetings, and finding out who I was without the substances, right? So then I kept rocking and rolling. I was blessed to have found a mentor who took me through the big book, one paragraph, sometimes even one line at a time. My brain was such mush from the substances that I was putting in my brain for so many years that this person was so patient, so full of information, and never judged me at all through it all. They would read, then I would read. They would read, and then I would read, and then I would cry, and then they would stop for a minute, let me cry, let me feel my feelings. Continue to tell me that the best thing about getting sober is you get your feelings back. The worst thing about getting sober is you get your feelings back. You know what I mean? And that just really settled in with me. So I kept going to meetings. I wanted what they had. I wanted what the people in the rooms had. I wanted what this person had. And so I just kept doing those things, right? And then I fell in love with the desire to help people, because these people have helped me so much so far, right? Like, I want to be able to give that back to somebody, right? I steered away from being the newcomer, and I got ahead of myself, and I didn't realize that the best thing I could do to help others was to help myself at this point. Was to shut up and listen, was to, you know what I mean? And I think that's so powerful, was the fact that, like, the best thing I could do for others, the best way I could help others and repay what no one is even asking me to repay back is by listening. I stayed humble, but I just wanted to help. I wanted to give back what was given to me so freely. So I steered away from the rooms. I steered away from my higher power. And I thought I knew it all. Yeah, right. Right. So I relapsed. I relapsed, and I realized during that relapse that the substances aren't the same as they were even 50 something days ago. These substances are worse. Like, they're horrible. They're the worst that they've ever been. And then came in, like, not even being able to tie my shoe, like, all those things started happening again. And I was just like, I don't want this for myself. On day 6 or 7 of getting my stuff together, I did my first step, my second step, and I found out what the third step prayer was. I'm on the FaceTime with my mentor doing these steps, and they said, get on your knees. I said, what are you saying to me right now? I'm not getting on my friggin' knees. You know what I mean? Like, what? Get on your knees. I got on my knees. I said that prayer. I mean, from the tips of my toes to the top of my head, it was like this spiritual feeling. And we kept reading, we kept reading, we kept reading. And now we are here at 17 days sober. And I know that I'm growing because I can look back and I can see what I did wrong and what I did right. And we're approaching the fourth step. And it's just wild. Like, a relapse is not a part of my recovery. It's just a part of my story. And yeah, I mean, and it's just like you suffer so long in silence, you know, and it's like you don't have to. You can, you know what I mean? Recovering out loud is not just a slogan or some cliche thing. It's real life, because there's so many people who don't even know where to start. And that was me. I was so lost. And I think that the consistency of the programs and the consistency of everything that these people are doing is so important. Even when it seems boring, or even when it seems like, all right, I got it. Go to meetings, find a higher power, do the steps. I got you. Those, like, that's so important to me in my story. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I know that I'm on my way. You know, on Halloween, my son turned to me and said, "Mommy, I don't know what's happened to you, but can you just stay this way?" My kids were very young. Yeah, my kids were very young, so they didn't even know that I was in active addiction. They just thought that that's how I was. Um, and you know, when they say you can't get sober for your kids, for me, it's the truth. I got sober for myself so that I can be a better mom to my kids. Um, and life's been going. Life's been rocking and rolling. And you know, so it's been a wild ride. And I feel like, really, like, you know, the hope showed up once I did the work. I sat around for such a long time, like, okay, God, you know, I went to a meeting. What do I do now? You know, and like, once I started putting one foot in front of the other and actually doing some work that was extremely uncomfortable, you know, hope showed up right after that. So
So much for
that's
sharing
all
that.
I got.
The first thing I say is that you are getting so much love on the TikTok. You are like
I am.
so much love. Like Kristen, she says, "I love you, Ember." Someone said, let's see, "Love you." Faye, let's see, Faye, yeah, Faye, Nina Faye, she loves you. J Love, of course, is here showing her love. Let's see, Hope for Recovery. Chris, oh, I already said Kristen. Z Miller. I mean, just everybody over here. Jomo, just everybody freaking showing you so much love and support, Ember, because we love you and you do deserve it. So I want to kind of start like at the beginning. So like when you quit attending like family functions and stuff, do you feel like that like affected your addiction at all? Do you think maybe like you went harder, like maybe you felt guilt or just to kind of numb that, or did you, or no, it didn't affect you at all?
Yeah. Family functions were something that I loved. I love family functions. It's where I would see all my nieces and my nephews. It's a little dysfunctional, but it was always a great time. It's what my childhood memories are made of. You know what I mean? And my house is the house where we all gathered. So to have to hide my face and make up excuses to my kids on why we weren't going, when in reality the reasons was because I had to be within a mile of the dealer at all times. And going any farther than where I lived, you know, was way out of the question. So then I would just use more and more, to eventually where it was like I was so numb, I totally forgot about the family party, right? I didn't even remember it was even a thing. So yeah, I think that definitely added to my addiction 100%.
Yeah, I definitely, I could see that. Like for me, it was a little different. My family were all addicts, so like I didn't ever have to hide it. But I did kind of feel like that when I start getting clean and going around like normal people, I felt like embarrassment, I guess, a little bit, and that's why I kind of could relate. I felt like,
They knew, like, once I showed up, they'd be like, "Oh, Amber's here," you know what I mean? And it was like a total train wreck. Like, every time, like, even if I try to look good, even though no matter how good I looked, no matter how much designer I had on, you know what I mean? Like, the Gucci sunglasses, they saw right past it. You know what I mean? Like, they knew, right? And like my sisters, my family, like people, you know, they knew. So yeah, it definitely added for sure.
So you think they knew before you told them, like before you told your sister? Do you think they knew? Yeah, definitely.
I didn't think so. I didn't
Of
think
course
so
not. Not then.
until my sister said, Amber, we all know. I'm like, how did you know? They're like, Amber, we know, you know?
How did you know? I weighed 2 pounds. How did you know?
I was the tiniest I've ever been, friends.
I
Ay, ay,
love it.
ay.
I swear, I love to make fun of myself because when I was in my addiction, I swear, I thought it was so cute. I shaved off all of my eyebrows, like this big. Like I don't know why, tiny and thin. They were like this thin and so no eyebrows. I didn't even draw them on. Like I thought that was hot. Like I had no eyebrows.
Yeah,
And then I would do
yeah.
it, but
I'm like,
once they
I'm just rocking the mom bun. It's all good. They're
oh
like,
yeah,
Amber, get your shit together.
it's not a mom bun, it's a dope bun at this point because it's not a bun, it's a freaking matted hair to the back of my head. I don't know how many times, like in my addiction, I refused to cut this long ass mane, so I would just. But I ain't taking care of it either because what the fuck would I do that for? So I swear it would be so knotted, dude. Well, it literally would take me hours. Like when I would finally get somewhere and I would have to bath, wash it and condition it. And then it would literally take me like an hour to brush my hair out and it would hurt. I would cry, dude. There would be knots so bad. So many times I thought I would have to cut it because it was just fucking stuck to the face of my neck.
Yeah, a mess, a mess.
So I want to talk a little bit about the conversation when you finally did tell your sister. How long did it? How many times did you argue with her and say no before you finally admitted to it? Like I can just see being like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
So my sister knows that when I was ready, I would come to her. She didn't even try and pry it out of me because she knew that it was a dead end street. She was in active addiction for a very long time. Um, her baby sister, she was more of a mom to me than my own mom was. We lost my mom at a really early age, and she watched me grow up. You know what I mean? She is my mom. You know what I mean? And she knows me better than I know myself. So not many arguments. We saved the arguments, right? Like they knew they had to love me from afar. They knew I was as stubborn as all hell, and that was not even a debate that they wanted to have with me. I didn't want to lie to them, and they didn't want me to lie to them, so they just didn't even bring it up.
Didn't even bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just like, they just let me be. My other family members can't really relate to addiction, so they didn't know what to do. We also lost a lot of family members during the years of my active addiction, so they were also trying to process that. So it's not that they didn't care, it was just that they didn't even know where to start. You know what I mean?
And there's
So
nowhere they can start. Like until we're ready, there's nothing anyone does. I mean, no, nothing they
exactly.
can do. Like they can't force us to. Like, um. So when you finally did tell, you had to tell after you told your sister, then how did you the rest of the family, like how did you like come out, so to speak, to them?
So so I told my sister, and she's a solution type of person. Yeah, I mean, she's if you're not gonna come up with a solution, she don't want to hear it. Um, so
Love her
so
for that.
she yeah, she's a tough one, that one. What are you gonna do about it now, Amber? Right? That's what she wants to know. What are you gonna do about it now? I've seen her unalive more times than I can count. She's been in Marky, please go. She's been in she's been in some things. What do you want, baby? Which one do you want? This one? Sorry, friends. You want this one? Okay, go ahead. So, okay, go ahead.
I
Go
love
ahead.
him. He is so cute with his curls, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, baby. Almost done. Almost done.
I've seen him. I've never seen the bigger one. Is he the younger one, right, Marky?
Yeah, he's the youngest one. Go. Go, go.
And what's the older one's name?
Logan and Steven. Hold on one second, friend.
Oh, I didn't know you had 3.
Is here? Oh. Okay. So, Marky. Sorry, friends. Uno
You're
momento.
fine, girl. Oh, shit, I know how it is.
Here. Okay, I don't understand.
Hey, babe. Jerry, Could you bring me a water, please?
All right. So sorry about that.
You're fine.
So once I told my sister, um, like admitting it was huge. Like letting that come out of my mouth was made it really real. Even in such a safe place with Nicole, it made it more real. And so once I said it, it was like something came over me and I was like, I'm an addict. You know what I mean? I'm definitely an addict. So then I said, okay, I'm gonna go to rehab, right? I need a mental break. I need a break. I felt like I was losing my mind. Um, and that's when the rehab idea came out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think like a lot of people, like when they're getting ready to get clean, and you know, I get it. Like we don't want to leave our kids, like, you know, so everybody's like against, like, when they don't want to go to treatment, but like, you know, really, like you said, the mental break, like sometimes that's what we need, like just some time to focus on. Now I know that can't be the situation for everybody. Everybody doesn't have family that could keep, you know, keep their kids, and nobody's going to turn their kids into the system. I would never ever say that, but like, you know, but like I think that that was a good decision. I know it didn't end up working for you, but like, you know, that was a mature, you know, a mature decision to make, because it, you know,
Right.
that's hard to say, like, yeah, I'm gonna step away from my kids for 30 days, especially when they're little and they don't understand. You know what I mean? Because like
Especially when dad had just been removed from their life. Temporarily, but dad was out of the picture at that time too. So how do you explain to a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old and a 12-year-old, like I'm
you have
actually,
no
I'm
parents.
an addiction. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because no matter what you say, that's what they're gonna hear. Like mommy's leaving you for a month, like, you know, and that's what kids don't understand. And so like like for you to make the presence of mind to say, like, I know that they're not going to understand, I know they're going to be hurt, they might be mad at me, you know, who knows how kids can react to these things, but you know that's what you had to do for your own recovery. So like, I just want to say, I know that it didn't end up happening and all of that stuff ended up falling through, but still, like, just the fact that you were willing to go, you had it lined up, like, you know what I mean, like you had made that decision, and that's a huge decision, because I know that had been hard.
I think that's where the whole getting sober for myself and not my kids came into play. Because if it was up to me as a mom, I wouldn't have left them. I wouldn't even have had the thought to leave them, and I would have continued to suffer in silence.
Yep. And we do, you
You
know,
know,
I think a lot of parents suffer for, and not an addiction just per se, but like, you know, a lot of people do. So women sometimes stay in abusive relationships and all of the things because, you know, oh my God, we have so many comments and I wasn't scrolling down. Okay, let's see.
and that's
People,
another thing. Like I left. It was 2 years that I left an extremely abusive relationship. And I thought that leaving the abusive relationship would have been the healing of all healing, but it wasn't. I left the abusive relationship, and I continued to get, I think, more elevated than I did before, because I was so lost. Somebody who I thought was my protector was the person I needed protection from.
and that's a hard
And then
realization. Like,
yeah, it was
I've been in
scary.
several abusive relationships, and like when you actually make the connection in your mind that like this person is hurting me, or you know what I mean, and stuff, like it is somebody that you care about and that you think cares about you, like it's fucking terrible, dude. Like
But
I
it
can
was the
remember.
real, it was the real plot twist when I came to the realization that he's my ex was not my protector. There's not a human on this earth that's my protector. God is my protector. And once I made that shift change in my mind, things started looking real well for me.
A lot different, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to talk about a little bit when the like when treatment fell through for you, like, so you went like a little bit, so you couldn't find a babysitter for your kids. So in that moment, like, you want to explain a little bit like how you were feeling, your thought process. I can imagine, like, for myself, I would probably feel like, you know, everything's where I myself, I would use it as a reason, like, oh, this is a sign God don't want me to get clean, like some dumbass. I swear, like,
Like
I would
what
have
the
said
fuck?
some,
Like
yeah, some dumbass shit, like, oh, this is a sign from God, I need to call up the D boy.
I'd be
Dude,
lying if I said that wasn't the case, friends. You know what I mean? But I had my oldest son sitting next to me looking at me with wide eyes like, what are you gonna do next, Mom?
Yep.
What are
And
you gonna do next?
he's what you said, like 12 at the time, so old
So
enough.
he's 13 now. He's 13.
So like he's old enough to know
So
a little bit about what's going on and like, yeah,
yeah. And
yes,
his dad faced really his dad was in was an addict for years and got himself cleaned up. But Steven was just looking at me like, what are you gonna do now, Mom? You know what I mean? And I was lifted, like, because I was going to rehab, I
right,
thought. I mean, I was on the uppers, downers, I was on anything at all. I was
all the
on it.
stuff,
You know
yeah,
what I
just
mean?
didn't want to feel anything,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. If I'm going to rehab, I'm going to rehab rocking and rolling. You know what I mean?
Right, and then, like, once I
So
get there and come down and then, like, all the anxiety sets in, I'm already, like, trapped there, like, I would have been the same way, like, you know, I'm just gonna get
I got a
elevated
pretty
and
little
do it.
nurse bringing me medicine to keep me comfortable. I'll be all right once I get there. You know what I mean? Just get me there, you know? Um, that was not the case at all. So, like I said, I had a babysitter for 3 days that I secured, and my Steven didn't leave that night until I actually had fallen asleep. He told his mom and his papa, I'm not leaving my mom until she falls asleep. Um, and that was so hard because I still look back on that and I'm just like so sorry to him. You know what I mean? Because I was so fucked up at that time, and but I had to figure out a way to turn that around for him. I had to figure out a way to show him the resilience. I had to find out a way to show him like we get up from whatever it is that we fall from, we get up. And he just looks at me like, what is she going to do next? You know what I mean? Maybe worried, maybe concerned, but maybe I feel like he's my biggest fan. I'm given these opportunities to show him like what we do during these times of uncertainty and things like that. So he left. I woke up the next morning and I was pissed off. I was so pissed off. I told everybody. I was so pissed off it fell through. I was so angry. And I just remember praying and praying and praying and praying. I came into this with God. I've always, my higher power has always been God. That's one thing that has worked out in my favor because I wasn't confused on who was carrying me during these times. So by the grace of God, I kept my ass in the house for 3 days, and on the fourth day, I started hitting meetings. And I was so uncomfortable. I sat in the back with my hood up. Don't touch me. I'm not hugging you goodbye. I don't want no numbers. I'm here because my family wants to know what I'm going to do now. Um, and that was it. And that was it.
Love that. Someone asked what, oh, I didn't even know it could do that. How long you were in active addiction?
So I started using, I graduated from high school in 2012. I had my first son. I graduated in June. I had my son in May. I graduated high school with honors. And then 2 years out of high school, 2014, I started using. I had
Yeah.
severe postpartum, and my sister and my brother were using, so I figured, hey, that like we were separated when my mom passed away. We were younger, we were separated. So I figured, hey, if we all use together, we get to be together. You know what
Right,
I
we get
mean? That
bond.
we get,
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
perfect
we
sense,
can
you
all have a
know?
good time. Yeah. Woo! So yeah, 2 years out of high school, I started using and just ditching anything that had to do with responsibility. I did. And then that's when I got into an extremely abusive relationship in 2017. Um and I that's when I really started using heavy. So I guess 2014 till 2025.
Wow,
Long
10 years,
time.
11
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Did you say
Yeah.
you had one of
Yeah.
your kids in 2014 or in 2013?
So no, I had my oldest son 2012.
Oh, 12.
Then I had Logan in 2018, and then I had Marky in 2020.
2020. I thought Braylon was born in 2014, and I thought you said I heard you say, you know, rolling on the dates, and I heard 2014. But
And then the only time I was sober during those times were the 9 months that I was pregnant. As soon as I came home from the hospital, I was using right away.
So I know you talked about earlier. You said like that you like did you did your whole mom thing, and then like when you weren't mom and you were getting high. So like, oh god, I forgot the question I was going to ask off of that. Lost it completely. It's okay. Okay.
Next.
Yeah. Um. So, oh, your sister. So your sister is doing well now. Yeah, you said.
Oh, my sister's doing so well. Friends,
Yay.
I'm not going to put her business out there, but Nicole, if you're listening, like, man, we ran together. We were homeless together. We slept in abandoned houses together. Um, she beat my ass one time. I showed up to her house high as a kite, talking about I need to go to the hospital. The lining in my stomach is inflamed from the shards of glass I was putting into it. And she whooped my ass in front of everybody. And
Is she your big sister?
yeah, we went. Yeah, my big sister. Yeah, my mom's sister. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, she didn't really give me no mercy because she didn't have no mercy. The world was so mean to her and so rough to her, and yeah, yeah. So
So was she mad that you were high? Was she already clean at this point, or?
no, she was higher than I was, but she was just so mad that I was high. She was
Oh,
higher than I was. She was in a bad place. She was probably in a worse place than I was, but I was her baby sister. And what the fuck are you doing, Amber? You know what I mean? You see me, you see my life falling apart. How dare you even do this? You know? And I was a stubborn little brat, and she wasn't having it, dude. She wasn't having it. You know what I mean?
bend you right over her fucking knee, didn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, she whooped my ass that night. I'll never
That's
forget that.
that's
Never forget that.
I love it. So we've talked a lot about your sister. What about your brother? You said he was using with you guys as well. Is he doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
So my brother's no longer with us.
I remembered as soon as I opened my fucking mouth. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. That's the reason that you brought him up. He's in everything I do and everything I say. Dylan Dylan was everything to me. We were separated when we were younger, and he was just such a good person. The only identification he ever had in his life was his inmate number. He just, I don't know, you would think that that would have been, the 6 days on life support, and my sister throwing the clipboard at the nurse when they said we had to pull the plug because it was state laws that you can only keep somebody on life support for 6 days, and you know having the nurses come in and tell us that come on in and regulate, start stimulating his brain a little bit, and then overstimulating his brain because he knew we were there with him, and then the next day just for them to tell us that there was no brain activity. His friends carrying me up to the room to say our last goodbyes. You would think that would have been enough for me to get sober and tighten up. But I didn't want to feel any of that. Up until a couple months ago, I still talked about him as if he was here. And my family would just look at me like, Amber, like when I would talk about him, and I would say, I would talk about him like he was here. They would just look at me like, they would look at each other like, is she friggin' nuts? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Dylan's a very, very touchy topic. I'm happy that you brought him up because, like I said, he's in everything I do and everything I say. But
Well, hey, let me tell you
that's
something.
that's as
He's
far as I'm
proud
gonna
of you
share on
right
that.
now. Oh my god, that made me
Thank you.
cry. Stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I laugh when I cry because I hate crying. Like,
No,
oh
it's
my
okay.
god, dude. I as soon
Yeah,
as I asked about your brother, like I remembered, and I'm sorry, but like, but it was good. Obviously, he wanted to be talked about, so we got him in here. I love
sure
that.
did.
Um,
Love him.
God, I'm sorry that shook me.
It's okay.
Did he OD? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so he was in a program called MinSec, and he struggled, man. I mean, he met the dealer in his hospital gown. He AMA'd from the last overdose and met the dealer in his hospital gown, and then he was court ordered to go to MinSec, and It's a very strict program, and he was doing great. He was doing great. He was finally getting it. I would meet him at the homeless shelter and bring him sandwiches for lunch. And I promised I'd buy him a new pair of Jordans if he completed the program. And he was so excited to complete the program. But where was I going to go after I completed the program? He had no home. He had nowhere to go. So I promised him I'd be there to pick him up, and I was a few minutes late. Of course, I'm always late. And the next girlfriend got a hold of him before I can get a hold of him, and she was still in active addiction. And so he went and to go use down North Philly, and he used on his way home, and they found him on the Market Frankfurt line during shift change. They helicoptered him to Jefferson Hospital, and they kept him on life support for 6 days, but his tolerance was not, he thought he could use the way he used before he went in, and that wasn't the case. He had so many days sober. The shit was just getting stronger. So that person got a hold of him before I could. And I just remember my sister sitting at the hospital every day, all day, every night, just like security, not letting anybody in, you know what I mean? And just like,
So where'd the girl go? You said he left. He like a girlfriend got a hold of him, and then they found him. Where'd she go?
she went far away. She went far away. She went far away. Yeah, I can't speak about her
Yeah,
because
I know.
working on my resentments right now. But
I have
do as
resentment, and it's
God
not
will.
even about I was like, where'd that bitch go?
Well, you could only imagine what me and my sister were like. You know what I mean? Some things have happened, and I'm not proud of them. But
Hey, I don't know. Okay, we're gonna move on to happier topics. So, you said you realized you had to do it for yourself, and that the things that you heard in the meetings that just kept replaying in your head. So, and you say all the time that like the best thing to happen is to get your emotions back, and the worst thing to get, like I've heard you say that probably 50 times in the past couple of days. So I want you to tell me a little bit about all the overwhelming emotions that came rushing back once you got back in recovery.
so reading the big book and reading the big book has been so magical. It's such a big part of my story. Because every time I would get choked up at what I was reading or things of that nature, like that person would just keep reminding me the best thing about getting sober, get your feelings back. The worst thing about getting sober, get your feelings back. And it made me feel like what I was feeling was what I was supposed to be feeling at that time. I feel like for me, like for my addiction, it wasn't a physical withdrawal. It was a mental withdrawal. So when I would cry hard, I would cry so hard. And after I cried, I would get into the shower and then I would get out and I felt like a little bit of my old me was leaving through the tears and a little bit of the new me was coming back. You know what I mean? So
It's
like,
cleansing. Yeah, like crying can be
yes,
so
it
freaking
was.
cleansing. And
And just the
especially like
reassurance in the rooms and reassurance from my mentor, like that they felt that same way. You know what I mean? Like they felt that same way. They know how I'm feeling. Like they felt it and you could hear it in their voice. You could feel it. Like, so I knew I was on the right track, but it didn't hurt any less. You know what I mean? It didn't hurt any less, you know?
yeah, I think that's a big thing is that like, we always hear that like recovery like is uncomfortable and like all of these things, and we just kind of like brush them off, but until we're in it, like it is so uncomfortable. Like I said earlier, like my issue was I got clean and I thought everything was just going to be better. Like, like all I did was quit doing drugs. Like I just didn't do drugs, and that my life was supposed to just be fixed, like turn into magic rainbows. Guess what? Fucking didn't. Like, in fact, early recovery was probably way harder than my addiction. Addiction was easy. I mean, in some aspects, like I didn't have any. All I had to do was get high every day. Like that was it. So, like, early recovery fucking sucked. Like,
I think
it
seeing my
mentally,
sister, I think seeing my sister come get sober and like seeing her go through the growing pains of it all, as well as my mentor, as well as the people in the meetings, even on the TikTok, you know what I mean? Like seeing people going through their emotions and like I kind of knew what I was in for. I think that's why I kept running. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like I knew what I was in for, so I kept running. But then I like got a clear mind, and I start looking around at these amazing people that are getting time, that have time, that are doing these basic things. I went into this knowing it was going to be uncomfortable. But I knew that the results that my sister showed, I mean, it was 1 + 1, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't walk around like, like happy as ever all day, every day, but she walks around a whole lot lighter. She's got a career, she's got things to show for her, and that's one thing that I wasn't blindsided by how hard the process was going to be, because I saw it in her and I saw the results. So it was
I
it
think
was it wasn't yeah.
that's so big because you all right, sissy? Hold on, the baby fell.
Man down.
Yeah,
Man down.
she's tired. What? Wait. Oh, she don't even want me. She just wanted me to come over there and pick her up. She fell down on the floor and couldn't get herself up. Babies are funny. She's laughing.
Aw.
She's laughing. She said, "Hee hee." So I was completely lost what I was gonna say, but what did you say right before I got up? Oh, I
Look
think
at
that
the
that's why it's
baby.
so important to share our stories. Like, that's why you hear me, I push it all the time, every night on our platform. Like, we talk about the hard stuff because, like you just said, like, you saw the results in your sister, and if you hadn't, like, who knows, where you would be today, because that's what it took for me, and a lot of other people that I've talked to. It took seeing other people succeed that have walked, like people that I used with and that kind of stuff, like people that I never ever thought would get clean. And then I saw them get clean and I'm like, well, bro, if they could do it, I could. They're not no. And so I think it's so
Like, for
important.
real. And I got that all wrapped up in one. My best friend, my sister, everything all in one. And there's no one else in this world that I would have trusted more than her. So as much as her story is so sad and was so dark at so many times, it's the biggest light in my story and why I'm going to keep pushing through. You know what I mean?
And that's why they say, like, pain and the purpose and all those corny things that we hate at the beginning, like, you may still even be there where, like, you just hear them little sayings and you're just like, shut the you know what I mean? But, like,
Some days I'm like, all right, I'll write it in my notebook. Some days I'm like, I don't want to fucking hear that again.
yeah, no, like, never say that to me again. Like, works if you work it, and like,
Yeah,
they used
yeah.
to make me so angry when I was not ready. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, oh, but it does. I
I'd be
guess
like,
maybe that's
Nicole, would you just shut up with these stupid things? Like, what are you talking about? Now I live and breathe them. I live and
yeah.
breathe them.
Now they're so cool. Like, I'm always like, oh, I love that. Like, post them on the wall in our meetings and stuff. Like, but it's crazy how our life
It
changes
hits
and how.
something in my soul now. Like, now that I'm sober, it, like, when I hear these sayings, I mean, it's reassurance that it's all going to be okay. It's reassurance that I'm not alone. You know what I mean? I'm really never alone, never again. And all those little stupid things are like, it gives me that grace period to breathe and stop for a second and just reevaluate whatever it is that's going on. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So I just we have about like 12 minutes left. So I want to talk a little bit about how you said at the beginning you just kind of submerged yourself in helping people and how that kind of backfired on you a little bit, or however you want to kind of caused your
Oh, man.
downfall in a way. So if you want to share a little bit
Oh,
about that.
man. This is what they want to hear. No. So yeah, like, I wanted to be,
Brian, she's got
so
your headphones, bud.
I was helped so much. I really was helped so much by some amazing people during my 20 days, 30 days, 40 days. I hit 50 days. I was just looking at 60 days almost. And people were giving me their time, giving me their energy, giving me wisdom. And I was just like, how can I repay this? I got to give it back. Hey, Jerry. I got to give it back. And I thought that by giving it back was by opening my mouth and staying up late for people who I thought might be able to make it, that it might click in their mind, they might want to get better, they might want to and then the betrayal came in, and not necessarily like intentional, but I forgot that I wasn't God, right? I forgot that I can't change people. I forgot that it's not up for me to set them free from the truth. I forgot that I was still, you know what I mean, in the beginning stages of my recovery. When they say take the cotton out of your whatever and put it when you're whatever, I mean, that's for a reason, because um, I was let down. I had some serious expectations for people that let me down. Um, and um, and when they say expectations are letdowns, man, they surely are. Because I figured if I stay up till 3 in the morning with this girl, and if I read with her and I pray with her and I show her what I'm doing and I give it to her so freely, like, she'll definitely get better. No, that's not how it goes here.
And then it
So
hurts our little feelings. Like I know if I pour my soul into somebody and then they like, and then they just don't like try or they go back out and like, dude, I get it. Like, you wasn't telling me nothing in my addiction, but like, it's hard. It hurts. I'm like, damn, dude, but it's okay. Hopefully we planted that seed and all the things. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, and that's the thing here. Like, that's the thing here is like, I forgot that even though I was getting my days, doing my things, like, I thought that they were too, right? I thought that they were too. I thought they were cruising along with me, but they just weren't, And I hit the reality. I hit that brick wall where it was like, I'm not a program. I am not God. I'm not, you know what I mean? So like, it was hard though, because it was like I trusted in people, but I needed to really be trusting in my higher power more. I needed to let him take the wheel here. And for a second, I thought I was God. Imagine that. Imagine that. So yeah, I mean, I had to forgive people that I didn't think I would ever forgive. I had to go into situations and be honest with no expectations of them being honest. I went into a situation where it was like, I'm gonna be truthful. I'm gonna tell them the whole truth, nothing but the truth, but I want them to be honest in return. And I'm telling you, God stopped me right in my tracks and said, no, you're going to go into this. You're going to be honest and set yourself free. And you're going to let me do the rest of the work for them. And that was no expectations. And I felt so free after that. So it all comes down to my higher power. It really does. Yeah.
Okay. So I have like some recovery questions that I'm going to ask you. What was life like before your recovery? No, I'm sorry. What was life like for you before recovery became a part of your story? Damn it, Sissy. Be easy.
What was life
What
like
was
before
life
me?
like
Before what?
before recovery first became in your story? So like how the mess. Kind of describe a day in the life of Ember.
Frustrating and long and heavy and heavy, really heavy.
What of your strengths would you say carried you through your early recovery the most? Like right now, what are you riding on?
Faith and hope and my higher power. I mean, like I said, like, I don't think I deserve much, but I know that my higher power didn't bring me this far just to bring me this far. He obviously sees something in me that I don't see in myself, so there's got to be something, more for me than just my addiction, you know what I mean?
Well, we're going to skip the next question because it says, when you think about the period leading up to your relapse, what pressures or conditions were stacking up around you? We're going to skip that. Um,
Yeah.
what did the relapse teach you about your needs, boundaries, and vulnerabilities? Vulnerabilities.
Say again, what did my relapse teach me? What?
About your needs, boundaries, and vulnerabilities.
So boundaries, that friggin' word. Um, so my relapse taught me that I needed to shut up and listen. I needed to shut up and listen 100%. It taught me that I have not lost that time. That I actually learned a lot during that time. Um, and that it's not it's just a slip up, you know what I mean? And it made me put my pride and my ego to the side and say, yeah, I slipped up, you know what I mean? But I want to be an example of if I can be an example of getting sober, I can be an example of starting over. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I try not to focus too much on my relapse because I got right back up by the grace of God. But yeah, I mean, my relapse is a small part of this story.
Absolutely. And it's not the end of it for dang sure.
That's for sure. Could have been, but here we are, friends, still kicking.
What surprised you the most about your own relax action to your relapse?
What surprised me more about my what?
Your the most about your reaction, like how did you handle your relapse?
So I thought I was gonna keep running and running and running and running and running and running. Um, I think what surprised me the most was that when I thought I would relapse, I thought I would have a bunch of people around me, um, cheering me on to get back up, but I didn't need that. I needed to sit with myself. I needed to um, process the fact that I slipped up, and I needed to figure out quickly how to get myself back to where I was. That's what it was. I was really surprised with the ability to sit by myself. And I think that's why everybody was removed during that time for something that was totally not related to my relapse. But God put me in a corner by myself and said, "You're going to sit your ass down and figure out how to get back up." So I think my ability to sit with myself, analyze what has happened, and then get myself back up.
Okay. I have two questions for you to close. The first is my I always like to ask my podcast guests if you could sit beside yourself in your darkest hour and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
One day at a time, 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time.
Love it. Okay. And the very last thing I'm going to ask you is what message would you give to someone who relapsed this morning and feels like they've ruined everything?
Oh man, that's heavy.
Yes.
Let me think for just 5 seconds here. I would say, what would I say? I would say, relapse is not a part of your story. Relapse is, you just gotta, I don't know. I guess I would say my relapse is something that I just like, I don't know. I think I would say to the person who relapsed and think that they messed up everything, they didn't. This is just a stepping stone to to your recovery. This is just a humbling moment. You know what I mean? To just humble your ass and just say, stay grounded, stay put, stay in the moment. You know what I mean? Just humble yourself. I became very not humble with my recovery. Use it as a grace period to just, you know what I mean, take a second and just thank God that you made it back. Thank God that you made it back. God is not
Amen.
finished with you yet. Yeah, God's not done with you yet. If he was, you wouldn't be here today to even say that you had a relapse at the end of the day.
Please. Okay, so I want to say real quick, Jimmy said that he would say to them, "I believe in you," and Hype says he would say, "Tuck that pride in your back pocket and come back." I love it. Love them both.
Hi, Jimmy. Oh, I love the support. I love
I,
that. Could you
yeah,
keep the live up so I can see everybody's love and support?
the TikTok live is on my phone. Oh, keep it up right now. Yeah. If you want to, yeah. So we'll close out the podcast if you want to jump over there real quick, and I'll let you check it out. Before we got to run the time real quick. So anybody watching that is going to be a part of our 7:30 live on or 7 o'clock live on TikTok. We're gonna do 7:30 tonight because I had some problems getting the podcast up and running at 7:17 now. We have to go to town, so I'm gonna be in the car, but we are gonna get in the car and leave right now. It'll take me about 10 or 12 minutes to maybe 15 to get service, but we're like walking out the door right now. So we'll be there shortly. Just give
Leanna,
us
thank you
time.
for your time. Jerry, thank you for sharing.
No,
This is
Ember,
my
thank
best
you
friend
for
with me.
being
I
here.
appreciate it.
I want to set it up for you
Yeah.
to come back later, in maybe a few months or a month or something, and kind of just tell where you're at and that you're still trugging along. I love that. Definitely
Trudging
want to have
through,
you back.
friends. Thank you.
Bye.
I'll see you on TikTok. Bye.
Bye.